Hey, what's going on YouTube? Hey, thank you for checking out this live stream. I'm gonna also upload this later on this evening, so if you guys want to rewatch it, it'll be up there. But I just want to kind of do a live stream. I'm testing all this stuff out, so want to make sure everything works good and all that. But something happened if you guys watch my weekly watch list. I've been calling for this today to watch for a break below. So we're going to talk about the reverse waterfall, how to trade them, and what to expect. And we'll see if what I say plays out this week. I'll give you guys a couple different scenarios of what I believe will actually happen, kind of with everything going on. So let's jump into it. So first off, what is a waterfall / reverse waterfall, right? So a waterfall is where, just kind of give you guys a quick little preview of it. Let me see. So pretty much a waterfall is, think of it as stairs, right? As you're walking downstairs, the high of every stair is lower than the previous, right? So what's essentially happening is, and let's kind of zoom out and look for a waterfall, right? So right here is a really good example of a waterfall, right? So what happens is price will kind of make a high, right? And then it closes, and next day makes a lower high and a lower high and so on, right? So as we're making lower highs, kind of like what we see here, what's happening intraday is price will just like close here and then it'll open here and retrace part of the candle, but it never actually breaks above the previous high. This is just pure price action 101. I just call it the waterfall, so it's a lot easier to kind of understand. So price is coming down, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, double top, right? Right here, same exact price, lower high, and then this candle breaks above by 1 penny. That's all it needs to do is break above by 1 penny or even 1 tick. So when price breaks above, okay, this is called a waterfall break. And think of it this way. If you just took a trend line and drew the trend line, once price breaks above, you're now on the other side of that trend line. So if we zoom out, okay, with that theory of it, right? If we kind of look, we have on, and that's, remember, a waterfall's on the way down. The reverse waterfall is essentially the same thing, but on the way up. So you just flip everything over like this, right? So what happens is, instead of having lower highs, right, you now have higher lows. So we actually started way back here on this day where price broke above, right? We were in the waterfall. This candle triggered the waterfall. So we're now in a reverse waterfall. Oh, hey, thank you. I'll kill that. Hey, thanks for the heads up. Still trying to figure out this live stream. So, okay, so now we have the reverse waterfall, right? Which is a low, a higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, and so on. And it keeps going, and we have multiple days. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 multiple days of higher lows. Think of it as green spun on a roulette wheel every single day, okay? Or sorry, every spin for 13 spins in a row. That's essentially what's going on. Then we finally get this quick down day, okay, where we break below the previous low like we do here, but it's only kind of what's called a look below and fail. It looks below and then it reverses and then takes out, and call it a bullish engulfment, whatever you want. So now what happened was we probably opened, went lower, reversed, went higher, and then closed up here. The next day, we open right here, okay? But what happens is we now restart the entire waterfall. And this is also called a failed waterfall because it tried to break, but then it failed the very next day. So we now start the count all over again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, this past weekend, I told you guys on my weekly watch list to keep an eye open for a break below the previous candle. And what that's going to do is that will actually trigger the reverse waterfall to now where we are now in a waterfall, right? So we have 1, 2, 3. Now this is the S&P E-mini futures. We're looking at this in real time. This is the after hours, right? So what's happening is we have 1, 2, 3, okay? Now price is just potentially retracing part of today's move, just like we do here. So like we can open here and maybe fall back down, but then reverse intraday and go like this. Well, we still are in that reverse waterfall. So right now, we are still in the waterfall. We need to break above this high sometime tonight or tomorrow to have a second failed waterfall. Okay, now the more failures you have, the stronger the move down market's going to actually be. Okay. But I think this might actually start this. I think we may retrace back up to the 4165, maybe even 4170 overnight, but then roll back over. And I expect price to keep falling. And I'm going to show you a couple other little things of why I think we're going to keep rolling over. If I just take a real basic, let's pin this real quick. If I take a basic trend line and I just connect this, okay, look at this. We kind of broke below this low today, and now we're on the other side of that trend line. Now, can anything reverse and go back up? Of course, but I think we're going to keep falling because when we come over to this chart, these charts over here, and these are just my trade zones and things like that, open gaps that you can find at my website. It's $50 for a lifetime. But what I do is every weekend, I mark all the open gaps and virgin points of control where price hasn't touched, right? So we actually had a VPOC here, but it touched today. So that gets taken out. But we still have a VPOC here, a gap. Well, look at all these, right? All these VPOCs and open gaps, which means everything is being built. This entire market rally is being built on very weak structure, because what happens is when you start to make new highs and new lows, you want price to go like this, right? And then you want price to actually come back down, retest that high, okay, or where the most volume traded, okay, but even on the breakout, it's the same logic, right, is you want price to keep coming back down and go. This is a very healthy market. It's retesting the breakout. So with the VPOCs, you want to retest as you're working your way up. You want to be able to retest them. But the problem is we're not doing the retests. What we're doing is we're just doing a gap and go, gap and go, gap and go. And that's very weak market structure. That's kind of like the market just open, keeps going higher, right? Opens, keeps going higher. You have a gap, right? Opens, keeps going higher. And then what's going to happen is you're going to have all these levels, right? VPOCs, gaps. And then all of a sudden you'll just see a big swoosh down, maybe within a day or a 2-day move, what's also called a liquidation, and you'll see a big swoosh right back down. And then that gets taken off, right? That gap gets taken off. That gap gets taken off, that VPOC. And then it starts to clean up the structure of the market. And I want to see a lot of these get cleaned up, at least these right here, and then probably 4,000's a whole number. We'll see what happens, but at least clean up these four. I'd love to see it move back down to 466. That's kind of like one of the gaps. It's also the point, market profile. Right here, it's a high volume node. That would be the most likely place. Now, with that being said, how could we also kind of verify, is that a good level? Well, let's come back out here and let's grab a Fibonacci retracement. Let's start from this low all the way up to this high. And just remember that 40.65 level. We'll look at where the 38% level is. It's at 40.55. Kind of pretty much close enough, right? So I would love to see price do a pullback into this 38 and then look to be a potential buyer for a bounce. Now, this trade might happen in 1 or 2 days, or it might take a couple days to happen. With that being said, okay, we now understand, okay, this matches up with the other couple things that we're watching. But what happens if you take this trade, like I took this trade today? I got short on the break and I'm holding on, okay? But what I'm looking for is I'm actually looking for price to stay below this high tomorrow. If price breaks above this high, I'm out. That's it. So like today, when I entered right around this 41.52 level. Okay, once we kind of broke by a couple points, well, my stop was a 41.83, or we'll say 41.84. Literally 1 or 2 ticks above that high. We should not break back above that high. Well, now I'm going to move my stop just above this. So now what I've done is I've reduced my risk on the whole trade, and I could hopefully ride this trade lower and see what happens with it. So that's kind of what's going on. Hopefully, if the market kind of reverses, goes back down a little lower, then what I'll do is on tomorrow at this time, I'll sit here, I'll take my stop, and I'll move it just above here if, let's say, this was the high of the day, right? So now I'm able to just keep reducing my risk, but ride the trend to the downside. So I hope that helps. Let me know if you guys have any questions on that. It's just a way to kind of cut out all the noise, the background, our assumption, what we think is going to happen. Is this going to happen? Is that going to happen? The news, who cares? We're just trading on pure price action. Now, one thing I will be looking for is if price, let's say tomorrow we break above, okay? And let's say we close right here, okay? And we close near the highs, and this was the low. I will be patient and we will restart the reverse waterfall, a brand new trend. I'll go 1, 2, and then the minute we break, that will be 3 failed waterfalls, right? Here's the first one, here'd be the second, and then the third one, the third break of the reverse waterfall. And usually you don't do more than 3. Sometimes you'll do 4, but usually the more failed breaks, so like this is a failed break right here, right? Failed break. If this reverses, this will be a failed break, right? Because you only have 1 day and then it shoots right back up. Well, if you start to see more and more of those, then one of the things that happens with that is you could kind of go, okay, let me start to get a little bigger on size, because when it does break, you will make up for those losses. Now, start small, okay, manage risk, but let's say you go short 1 micro ES future here. You get stopped out, okay, you lost 15 points, whatever. If it kind of like here, right? Maybe you took this trade, got stopped out, because essentially if you took this trade here, your stop would have been right here, and we took it out on the same day. Okay, cool, you lost 12 points, right? Here, well, today if you took this at 50, it went down, you had a chance to take 10 points. Now, the hardest part is where to take your profits, right? That's part of trading. That's part of your trade plan. But if we got stopped out here, okay, cool. Now I know I'm down about, we'll say 25 points. I'll probably go 2 contracts to almost double up to catch up. But if you go back in time and you look at waterfalls, like failed waterfalls, things like that, you'll see the more they fail, almost like this, right? So you come down, here's a waterfall, a failed waterfall, the next one that breaks, and it's off to the races. Okay, here you have a failed the reverse waterfall, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fail. The very next day goes up, next day fail. Well, if it goes back up, I'm actually going to get long and look at the move ahead. So I hope that helps. Hey, Prayer Kid, yeah, I like that 65, even 70. Now, remember, the higher up the more patient you are, okay, on this, is think about it. We're real time, right? So what we could do right now is you know the high 74.75 on the ES, right? You could say, hey, if we get to 72 or 71, and the reason I'm saying 72 is because of this body, but yeah, let's just use this body, right? 72.50. So let's say you enter at 72. You know your stop is right above this high, and we'll give it 2 ticks above that high, which would be 75.50. 3 ticks, we'll give it 75.50, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you're risking 3.5 points. And hopefully what you love is get filled and then fall. And then you only literally have 3 ticks worth of, about 3 points of risk. This is what you're risking, right? And then this is your profit potential. Not bad, but you got to be patient for that, right? And who knows if we're actually going to retrace all the way back up to give you that small risk reward. So maybe you could say, hey, let me enter a little bit here, enter a second one here, and then look for it, and you're all out above 75. So I hope that helps. Just want to say thank you. I just want to jump on. I'm going to try and do a few more of these live streams, maybe throughout the weeks and all that. If you guys like them, just let me know. But hopefully this stuff helps you with your own trading. I just thought this was a perfect setup for everything that kind of happened this week and all that. So, Prayer Kid 72 could work. We may not get there until the open. Yeah, hey, that's the thing. But remember, we know where our levels are, right? We know exactly where our entry would be, things like that. So, but as always, guys, I'll let you get back to whatever you guys were doing. Thank you for taking the time out. And like I said, I'm going to re-upload this in a few minutes. So if you guys want to re-watch it, or maybe a couple hours, I'll probably do it. But we could just comment down below, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you again for watching. Have a good day.